Hey, what is up, everybody? I am here to give you guys my thoughts on Mark Henry retiring. And yeah, I was just scrolling through the internet and I come across this article that announced that Mark Henry was retiring. And I figured I'd give my thoughts on it. Um, and I didn't really know what to call this video at first because I wanted to call it "Remembering Mark Henry" or "My Tribute to Mark Henry." But I feel like if I had put that as the title, a lot of people would have thought that Mark Henry died, and I don't want that to be the case at all. So yeah, I'm gonna just call this my thoughts on Mark Henry retiring. So I'm gonna read this article that talks about it, then I'll give you my thoughts on Mark Henry as a performer and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to read this article. Um, you can find this article in the description box down below. And this article comes from WrestleZone. It's called Mark Henry Announces Retirement from In-Ring Competition. And it was published by Chris Featherstone. And it was published today, July 20th, 2017. Starting his career in 1996, Mark Henry went from representing the Olympics to sexual chocolate to channeling his world's strongest man gimmick like folding frying pans to creating his dreaded Hall of Pain and everything in between. Although his career has been up and down over the past 21 years, WWE executives can certainly say that Henry has been one of the most consistent members of the rosters over the last 2 decades. Discussing his career with fellow Nation of Domination members Ron Simmons, also known as Farouk, The Godfather, also known as Kama Mustafa, on Table for Three, Henry announced that he was wrapping up his days as an in-ring talent. And this is a quote from him. It's been 21 years, and as we know, that Father Time is undefeated, said Henry. My time is coming to an end. I'll go from talent to an employee here in a few months. I'm just looking forward to making that transition, helping these young guys and girls coming in beneath us. Henry, 46, added that he will be shifting over more to help the company restock on talent, which is something he has been doing since competing in the ring full time. Over the past 21 years in WWE, Henry has been a one-time World Heavyweight Champion, one-time ECW Champion, and one-time European Champion. And that's all it says about uh, that story. And now that I've covered that, let me actually give my thoughts on this. All right, so now I'm going to kind of give you my actual thoughts on this. I think as my actual thoughts, I think we all knew Mark Henry's was towards the tail end of his career. Um, Obviously, too, because you really didn't see much of Mark Henry in recent months. He had been a veteran. He had been in the WWE since 1996, and I think Mark Henry had alluded that he was on his final days in WWE. So, yeah, I think we knew Mark Henry's time in WWE as an in-ring competitor was slowly dwindling. So I'm not that shocked. He had a pretty damn good career, I think. Um, Mark Henry, I think if you think about somebody like Mark Henry, you could always say that he was loyal with WWE, no matter the crap that they have done with Mark Henry, whether that was the whole sexual chocolate gimmick, um, you know, um, having him pretty much almost have sex with a transvestite. That's one of them. Um, you know, just getting jobbed out towards the end of his career. I can certainly say that Mark Henry did it with pride. He was pretty loyal to WWE after all the crap that they have done with him. Because he's had to saddle with a lot of crap, even like I said, sexual chocolate. He's had to saddle with a lot of crap in the WWE for months. And I think Mark Henry. Has always been loyal to WWE. He always stayed faithful to him. I think what's going to be missed is a presence where you can. I don't think you will ever find anyone actually ever say anything about Mark Henry. I think he always had a pretty respectable presence backstage. I think he's one of those veterans that I think that you want to aspire to be um, in the wrestling business. And he's always somebody that I think is a kind-hearted man you can probably go to for advice. And I think that's definitely going to be missed with Mark Henry. Obviously there's certain things about Mark Henry I'm going to remember. Um, coming into the WWE in 1996 and just absolutely squashing Jerry the King Lawler in his first pay-per-view match. He was a specimen. He had competed in the Olympics. Um, like I said, I'm obviously never going to forget his when he was had a crush on China, and they did that whole storyline where he ended up having sex with a transvestite, and then you have that reaction. I'm obviously going to remember his times in the Nation of Domination. With all the members that were mentioned, the Godfather, um, who was Kama Mustafa, Ron Simmons, who was Farouk, and then you have The Rock, who was at the time Rocky Maivia, and his time in the Nation of Domination. That was a really good time for him. He got to hold the European Championship once. Um, and obviously, Mark Henry wasn't always a top guy in WWE, but they eventually, I think, once the Attitude Era was over, Mark Henry had been in the wrestling business for a while, and he got his first real shot at big talent when in 2006, when they had him go on a monster push. He had injured Batista, who was the world heavyweight champion at the time. I remember when Melina had brought him out as like insurance policy since Batista had been claimed to have sexually harassed her. And then I think they were supposed to do a feud, but then Batista got hurt. So then he ended up going into a program with Kurt Angle for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then he got to work a program with The Undertaker and wrestle him at WrestleMania in the casket match. Um, and then he just went on a rampage in 2006. He was taking out everybody to Rey Mysterio, Chris Benoit, and he took out everybody. And then eventually he ended up getting hurt, unfortunately, in July, and he ended up being taken off TV for a while. Then he got his restart when he came back. He took out The Undertaker, and he went on a dominant path, had a pretty okay feud with The Undertaker. And then he kind of floundered around for a while. Then eventually, when he was drafted over to ECW, he at Night of Champions 2008 won his first major championship when he defeated Big Show and Kane in a triple threat match to win the ECW championship. And actually, I don't think anybody expected Mark Henry to win that ECW title. It was a huge moment for him. And he went on to have a pretty okay one as ECW champion. I remember when he did do the I remember his association with Tony Atlas, that they did some pretty okay stuff together when he bent over, um, you know, um, the frying pan. I thought that was really good stuff. Um, and then eventually, he ended up dropping the ECW championship in a championship scramble match to Matt Hardy. Had a pretty decent feud with Matt Hardy for the ECW championship. And then he kind of flaunted around again. He was traded to Raw in 2009, where he had a pretty lame transition. I felt kind of bad for him because he ended up turning face and he didn't really go anywhere from it. But then a shine of light happened for Mark Henry. In 2011, he was drafted over to SmackDown, and he ended up just having his whole Hall of Fame one. He ended up turning heel, doing the six-man tag team match between it was John Cena, Christian, and Mark Henry versus CM Punk, Alberto Del Rio, and The Miz. And he ended up turning on his team, and then he went on his Hall of Pain. He ended up showing up at Capital Punishment, taking out the Big Show, and he absolutely destroyed Big Show in that feud. This is when he started the Hall of Pain. He ended up taking out the Big Show on Money in the Bank 2011, and Then he ended up just going through this Hall of Fame where he would just take out superstar after superstar. He ended up taking out Kane, then Vladimir Kozlov, the Great Khali, Sheamus. They had a pretty decent SummerSlam match together, and they were just really pushing Mark Henry to the moon. And then at Night of Champions 2011, he had been in the company 15 years. He had never won the World Championship. He defeated Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship. A huge moment for Mark Henry, 15 years in the making. He went on to have a really dominant reign as World Heavyweight Champion. He defeated Randy Orton again at Hell in a Cell. He had a 3-month program at Big Show. Unfortunately, he ended up getting hurt again, and he ended up dropping the World Heavyweight Championship to Big Show at Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, or TOC for short, in 2011, sorry. And then he was hurt, so he had to kind of work through his injury. So then eventually after WrestleMania 28, he ended up taking some time off. He returned and continued right back at his Hall of Fame. He ended up taking out Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara. He had a really dominant run inside the Elimination Chamber, where he ended up just wreaking havoc in there. And then eventually he ended up having a pretty decent feud with Ryback going into WrestleMania 29. Knocked off Ryback. And then you had him do one of the best works in his career, where he came out, he was getting all emotional, and he was upset. It had been reported that Mark Henry was going to retire, so he comes out and cuts his big retirement speech, and he starts crying, starts putting up his kids and his family and stuff. And he actually thought he was going to retire, but then he was with John Cena at the time, who was the WWE champion. And when he went to hug John Cena, he ended up laying out Cena with the world's strongest slam. And you could just, that definitely showed that Mark Henry could definitely make you believe that he was in his bullshit, because, the way he was acting, the emotion, you actually thought that Mark Henry was retiring. So he pretty much had his last shot in the main event scene when he ended up going up against John Cena at Money in the Bank 2013 for the WWE Championship, which he failed to win. And then pretty much he kind of floundered for a while in 2013. Really didn't do much. He ended up turning face again. And I always hated it when they turned Mark Henry face, because they never really did anything with him. Then eventually he returned because he had been hurt, I think. And then he was clean shaven. He shaved off his beard and his hair. And then he went on to have one final big feud in the WWE when they brought in Rusev, and he was the Russian supporter, always trashing America. And you have Mark Henry have this big feud with Rusev defending America, since he had fought for America in the Olympics. And they ended up having a pretty okay match at Night of Champions 2014, where Rusev would end up knocking him off. And then pretty much afterwards, Mark Henry kind of stayed stagnant for a while. He ended up, tag teaming with the Big Show, turning on him, and then he would kind of turn face and heel throughout the rest of his career. And his last big hurrah was at WrestleMania 32, was when he was in the third annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, when he got a huge ovation in his home state. And that was really good for Mark Henry. And then obviously afterwards, he kind of was gone after a while. I am kind of disappointed to think that Mark Henry, I think he deserved like one big final hurrah in the WWE, like a nice retirement match. He always said that he wanted to wrestle Daniel Bryan in his retirement match. I remember when Mark Henry was a World Heavyweight Champion. He worked pretty good programs with Daniel Bryan. They had pretty good matches together. And I think Mark Henry, for his time in WWE, I think he eventually he ended up earning everybody's respect. I don't think anybody really had anything bad to say about Mark Henry. I always thought Mark Henry was pretty talented. He wasn't the most talented indie star, and I think nowadays everybody kind of thinks that you have to come from the indie scene. You don't necessarily have to, but Mark Henry came in. He had some wrestling background, and for a guy that was his size, he could do some pretty spectacular things. and he was just booked up like a monster eventually at the end of his career. And like I said, I think Mark Henry knows a lot about the business more than you think. Um, I think Mark Henry, if he's going to be in the process where he's going to recruit new talent and stuff, I think he's going to be really good at that job. Um, I think Mark Henry can do some good for the WWE still. And, does it suck he's retired? I think it kind of sucks. I think Mark Henry, I'm going to miss hearing his theme song when he comes out and he says, somebody's going to get their ass kicked. Somebody's going to get their weakness. I'm going to miss him going on the mic and talking about the Hall of Pain promos. I just definitely think that, his presence, even though I don't think he'll be completely gone from WWE, I think he'll still be doing some work. But as an overall talent, I definitely think his presence is going to be missed within the WWE. He's always been a really good talent, and I think everybody's gonna miss Mark. I think Mark Henry will be his missed in ring wise in the wrestling business. And do I think he should go into the Hall of Fame? I absolutely think he should go because he's earned it. He's done some good stuff in WWE. Had some really good feuds and stuff. Um, and he's done some really good stuff within the company. He's stuck it out. And he's done some famous stuff. So overall, that's my thoughts on Mark Henry retiring. Thank you, Mark Henry, for all the memories. I'm obviously too. I didn't even mention one thing though. Obviously, I know they had done this before, but when him and Big Show and Vengeance 2011 even collapsed the ring and broke it. I remember he was in a match with the Usos, and he would always say like these phrases like "Nobody splash me," and stuff like that. He always had some good phrases. He always knew how to act when he was a heel. So I think Mark Henry was a pretty good talent and going to be a presence miss in the wrestling business. And I kind of hope he can spread some of his knowledge within the younger guys because I think he could do a lot of that. Obviously, too, I think one thing I will always think about when I think about Mark Henry is obviously everybody knows the YouTube channel OTRS Central, or it used to be Off the Rope Show. But I'm obviously going to remember Smokey, the old cat that would constantly praise Mark Henry and would fight for him to get a push. And I thought that was awesome. So, yeah, Mark Henry, thank you for all the memories, and you'll definitely be missed from the wrestling business within as an in-ring competitor. But I hope you can still do some great things within the wrestling company. And yeah, thank you for all the great memories. And that's pretty much it, guys, for this video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And also, I've been meaning to mention this. Make sure you click on that bell that's right next to the subscribe button, because every time I upload a video, you guys will get the notification about it. So please make sure you do that. Also, make sure you subscribe to my CM Brothers and I Want to Talk and Data YouTube channels because I upload videos on there as well. And also make sure you click on that bell so that way when I upload videos on there, you'll get the notification for it. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.